Hi, all. This is Dawn Burkes again. I'm with veteran TV writer and producer Wendy Calhoun today. I found out that, my favorite show, Empire, is big, 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 big. And guess what? One of our Dallasites is co executive producer and writer. So now we're going to chat with her. Um, Wendy.
Yes,
I'm
thank
so
you.
glad you came to see us.
I'm glad to be here. Always. Lots
Okay.
of family here. It's wonderful to come home.
Good, good. I know my first thought upon finding out that you were involved in this show that just keeps getting bigger and better with the ratings was, how did you get involved?
Oh, wow. How did I get involved with Empire? I was producing a show called Nashville,
Yes.
in Nashville, and a friend sent me the pilot script for Empire, and I read it. I remember reading it early one morning before the crack of dawn, before I had to go to set for Nashville, and thinking when I got to the end of it, oh my gosh, I would love to write this show.
Wow.
And from that point forward, I just kept following everything that was happening with the show, anybody that was getting cast in the show, how the filming was going.
Yeah.
You know, I called my friends at Fox and I met with the Fox executives and just kept tracking the show until the time came when it looked like it was going to be a Go series, and I was so excited that I went and met with everyone I could, and luckily they offered me an opportunity to come on and join the staff.
That's really exciting, and I'm really even more exciting. You think about Lee Daniels, the creator, from he adapted Precious to the big screen in such a great way.
Yeah.
You know, he also did The Butler. Have you gotten a chance to work with him really closely?
I did get a chance to work with Lee. He was in the room and heavily involved when we were first developing the series. Well, just what we were going to do with the first season. So that was really fantastic, and I remember interviewing with him and just being so excited because I loved Precious, and I actually remember watching the Oscars and watching Gabby at the Oscars and praying. I would just wanted to be able to write for her one day.
Wow.
That would have been a dream come true. Even that would have been enough for me. So when I found out she was in this and he was involved, it just made it that much more enticing. And then I really enjoyed The Butler, and I got to see some of Danny Strong's work. And Danny's a really strong writer, strong. And so it was just fun to know that I could, be with these people and helping bring these stories to life that they had dreamed of.
And Danny, I've noticed throughout his career that he writes really strong female characters. And that brings us right to the Cookie Monster.
Yes.
To Taraji P. Henson's portrayal of Cookie, which is just so fierce.
Yeah.
That in the writer's room, was there any idea that this character, out of all the other characters, as my grandmother would say, out of all the other characters on that show, that this one would be the one that captured the public's attention in such a way?
Oh, I think absolutely. I think everyone felt that Cookie, she leapt off the page. I mean, even from the first script that I read, and there were drafts after that, you knew that it was going to be amazing. I got to see Taraji perform a play in Pasadena called Above the Fold, and this was after she was done with Person of Interest and before Empire had come along, and before, I don't know if she'd done No Good Deed or not, but I hadn't seen that yet. But anyways, I was really impressed with Taraji. I felt like she just has an energy about her that was amazing. So when I read the script for Empire, I thought, oh, she's gonna get to really dig in. I can't imagine how fantastic it's gonna be. But yeah, once we saw the pilot, and I mean, many of us signed on before we actually ever saw the finished pilot. We'd read the script, but we hadn't seen it yet. But once you saw it, and you knew it was magic. You knew that was going to be the thing that was going to grab people's attention.
Wow.
If you don't mind,
Yeah,
if I can add, what I don't think people were particularly prepared for, and what I really enjoyed watching over the progression of the season, was how deep the bench was. I mean, because Terrence is amazing, and Trey, who plays Andre, fantastic.
Yes.
And Jussie is amazing, who plays Jamal. And Yaz, who plays Saki. You start getting into the depth of characters around Cookie in her world, and it just becomes a story goldmine.
It's like a Lakers team from the 80s. It really is.
In terms of cast?
In terms of
Yes.
casting. And Jussie Smollett and Yaz, I love the way that they're almost having to pull from dual portions of themselves because they have to be performers too.
Right. You know, this isn't just a job.
Right.
This was something that you felt it brought out a passion in you, and you wanted to do this work. And I think it shows in the final product just how invested everyone is. So.
There's some criticism of the show from some parties that it glorifies this hip-hop lifestyle that everybody can attain and that it is too soap opera. But then you have the people on the other side of the aisle like me who love every minute of it because, and to me that comes from the authenticity of the language. And does that go back to this writer's room that I've read has so many writers of color in it that you guys write what you know? And that's different.
Yeah, it is different. There's a shorthand in that room, you know, a nuance. I mean, just being very honest with you, having been a writer in many rooms where I'm the only woman or the only person of color in the room, there's a constant, I guess the buzzword for it is code switching that has to go on. Even when you sit down as a writer, you can't really get into your flow per se because you're having to approximate a voice. It isn't necessarily the voice that you know from birth. And, you know, for a white male writer, because the majority of a lot of American entertainment is by white male writers, they're able to go into rooms, they have that shorthand, where I was always feeling like I had to be either two steps ahead or just sit back and watch or something because it wasn't a natural flow. That has not been the case on Empire.
I heard, and we talked about this before, I heard from a friend of a friend that you graduated from our prestigious School of the Arts here, High School of the Arts, Booker T. Have you gone by the new building that's attached to the AT&T Performing Arts Center?
I have. I've been so lucky. The last time I was here, which was, oh man, I came here, and I think I'm going to say it was maybe almost 2 years ago. And I visited, I was in the theater program when I was there. That's where I wrote my first play that was produced. I was a sophomore. I did a lot of acting. I directed. I designed sets. I designed costumes. I got to do, you know, it was complete. Wonderful training ground to be a producer in the sense that you got to do everything if you wanted to. You didn't have to just you didn't have to only act or only write. You could dabble in everything, which was perfect for me. I needed the smorgasbord. So yes, I got to walk around the new facility. It's amazing. I mean, when I took playwriting, we wrote in what we called the rat room, which was this windowless room, which about 10 of us could fit in, behind the seats in the auditorium, the old auditorium.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you know, for me it was fine.
Right, of course.
You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
But it's now they have a wonderful writing lab there. You know, it's just fantastic, and they have windows. So
yeah, and they get the use of the facilities around them, the Wiley and the Winspear, and it's just really awesome. I'm so envious every time I walk by.
I'm coming here today. What an important place this was for me at that time of my life to be in Dallas, which is a place that really supports the arts and supports young people wanting to explore the arts. I mean, and makes it's not something that's thought of as secondary or something that's thought of as extracurricular. It's actually celebrated as something of value to society.
Yes. Something of worth.
Yes.
That you can then go out and it be worthy of the people you perform it for.
Absolutely. Yes. The city embraces visual art is everywhere here. Sculpture, painting. I mean, that's fantastic. And then dance and theater and music, it's all here.
Even to architecture here.
Architecture, yes. And there's a really strong sense of it being homegrown. That's something there's a lot of pride in that. That's rare, and it's small enough and accessible enough that someone that's young, like me, I mean, I wrote a play that was produced at what was called Stage 1. It wasn't even at Arts. It was another company here that decided to put on a play that I wrote. Wow. I've designed costumes for a little, I remember this, a theater troupe that was working out of Deep Ellum. I mean, these are opportunities that most 16 and 17-year-olds never get. But they were available. And for writers in Hollywood, and writers of color especially, because there's a perception that on writing staffs, there's only room for one black writer.
Right.
You'll find, and I have lots of black writer friends, when we get together and talk about, say, it's staffing season, you're thinking, oh, well, you know, they've already got a black writer on that show. Where is this thinking coming from? Why can't there be more than one of any type of person on a staff?
One of the things I love about Empire is it's bam, bam, bam. There's always something new. There's always a corner.
Oh, yeah.
You guys write in a maze, and you're doing a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you. I love, too, that it's non-linear storytelling, that we're able to go back in time and fill in some, say, emotional holes for characters, or story paths that maybe you didn't even consider, and take a new story in a different direction. So, you know, we're not bound by life, death, and medicine.
Right. Without using what I've started calling an exposition fairy.
Right.
The character sitting over here that's explaining everything to everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the fact that you guys are doing that. This has really been great. I'm telling you, you should have seen me when my friend told me that, oh my gosh, somebody from Booker T is working on this show. And I just talked to every contact I had at Fox.
Oh, yes, that is fantastic.
And it was so great. They were like, well, she's there. What do you mean she's there? I get to talk to her. And I'm so glad that you were able to give us the time today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, sure. It's my pleasure. I mean, when the hometown paper calls, you don't say no. You say, okay, what time?
Right. I feel like I have another sister in arms.
You do. You did.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
No problem.